Hello and welcome everybody to Weekly Skews. I'm your host Mark Agee. That is not Trey Crowder. That is Corey Ryan Forrester here filling in. What's up, Corey? Thank you for stopping
buddy,
by.
You're right.
Yeah.
I'm not Trey. There's Trey, though, on a shirt for Putting on Airs, our podcast that you should listen to. You told me not to shill. Here I go.
As your screen names, We Love Corey, which is WeLoveCorey.com, which is your Substack, right?
Yeah, it's my Patreon where you can get all sorts
sorry.
of things. It's great.
Okay, we'll get to that in a little bit. I wanted to, so Trey is in New York working, I guess, and so a little behind the scenes stuff here. Trey forgot to tell us that he wasn't doing the show until last night. Actually, what he did was he forgot that we have a show he's a part of called Weekly Skews. When I sent him and Matt a text, my normal Sunday text, the show's ready. What time do you guys want to record tomorrow? He goes, "Oh shit, I forgot, I can't do it." And then he's scrambling at 11 p.m. East Coast time, trying to figure out who the fuck's going to sit in his chair, right?
Yeah, which means he just texted me and was like, "You're doing this or you're fired from everything else we're involved in."
And here's the funny part about this, okay? So he says, "I can't do it, let me get Corey." And I go, "Wait, hold on, what are you flying?" And one thing I've learned about my personality is whenever I have any sort of follow-up questions, people assume I'm being a fucking asshole, okay? Because this almost got me fired from a job once, so I realized this is how people see me. Because they'll be like, your boss tells you to do something, you go, hold, wait a second, why are we doing it this way? And they think you're being an insubordinate asshole. But also, like, my wife and I have been together for, 13 years, and she still does that. She's like, hey, we got to go do this. I'm like, wait, can we, is there another idea? It can't, just
I'm
saying,
so
is there another
glad it's not
idea?
just me. I'm so glad it's not just because I constantly am having to go, whoa, no. I'm not saying I won't do it. I'm just trying to game out if there's an easier way to do it because that's how I'm wired, is to work smarter, not harder, because why wouldn't you?
Right. So when Trey says, I'm going to get Corey, I'm like, hold on a second. Like, when are you flying? When are you back? Yada, yada, yada. Just to ask a couple follow-up questions to see if Trey Crowder can still be a part of the show that has his fucking name on it, right? Because we can move the taping time. And he gets defensive and he goes, I've done the last two. Which is like perfect fucking lazy hillbilly shit. It's like, hey, I showed up for work 2 days in a row.
Yeah,
what do you want,
man.
a third?
You know what's funny is that he's about to do the same thing to us because he texted me, hey, can you do Skews? And I was like, oh, I actually needed a favor from Trey, so I'm going to say it now. I said, hey, yes, I can. I've been meaning to ask you, can you do Putting on Airs early this week because I got to fly to California? And he's like, we can go early Wednesday, but I'm going to be traveling all day Tuesday. And I just said, okay, cool, early Wednesday's fine. That means that he's not going to be there to record Well Read, and he still hasn't told us that. But yeah. You know what I mean? He sucks. Yeah. He's a piece of shit.
You'll never hear any of this. That's
no,
fine.
Of course not.
All right, so we got a lot of show. Today we're going to be talking about the Minnesota assassin, who is a fascinating type of guy.
Randy Moss.
No, the guy who killed two people. Well,
shit.
Okay, this is going to be fascinating for you. But you've been at the beach.
Yeah.
Okay, this guy who's a Pentecostal wannabe televangelist / grind set LinkedIn hustler.
Liberal?
Apparently is full. No. Right. He apparently he managed to fool everybody for going on 36 hours about the nature of his character and personality because he lied on his LinkedIn. Just fascinating shit going on. Anyway, we're going to talk about that, but before we get to that, we're going to talk about the parade. But first,
Pride?
Got a little. God damn it, Trump's birthday parade.
Oh, it was his birthday? Happy birthday.
Yeah. Okay, goddamn, I want your life. You just sit at the beach not knowing that the society's collapsing at all around.
I knew all of this stuff. This is my bit this week.
Okay.
I saw that Israel and Palestine were in the World Cup or something.
Before we get to that, a couple of shilling things. I do it much faster than Trey, don't worry. Go to TreyCrowder.com for Trey's upcoming tour dates. Like I said, right now he's in New York. If you can watch his special Trash Daddy on his website as well. I think it's on YouTube. For $5 a month, you can get a bonus episode of this show, Weekly Skews, which, as Trey puts it, is just this show, but more of it. Plus, sometimes we do Q&As. And go to Corey's, and Matt's got his spinoff show, Good Skews, where he tries to make us look bad by talking to fellow do-gooders who are improving the world instead of just complaining about how bad shit's going like we do. Also, check out Corey's Patreon, WeLoveCorey.com. So that's all that. That's done. Let's get to the show. Matt, Daily Dumbass graphic, please.
Let's get to bad Skews. Huh? How about it?
Today's Daily Dumbass is Mom for not oiling the army tank I asked for my birthday.
Ooh, that's
Happy
rough.
birthday!
That's rough.
Dude,
That
at this parade, this stupid fucking parade for which they tore up the streets of D.C. and spent $45 million was an utter fucking failure. The parade was neither a roaring call to patriotism nor a tyrannical show of might. It was much worse. It was boring as fuck.
That looked like a cut shot in Star Wars if Taika Waititi directed it, of like an AT-AT just sort of like stumbling down the in Hoth before it crumbles over.
Yeah, but like they're kind of in a hurry because one of the stormtroopers has to take a shit or something. It's like just utterly stupid and pointless. So there's a famous Eisenhower quote about military parades back in the 1950s after America had firmly established itself as a superpower, and was asked about whether or not he should have a big parade when he was president, and he was like, basically, it's beneath, as the world's preeminent superpower, it's beneath our dignity to do this shit. Which is true. It's true of every society, but for whatever reason, other societies get off on it. Basically, like, he was 40 years before the Ghetto Boys, but the same idea that they expressed was like, real gangsters don't flex nuts because gangsters know they got them.
Yeah.
But like, this particular execution was so much less dignified than even the part Eisenhower was fucking imagining. If you play this video, Matt, of them, this montage of the announcer thanking their sponsors for the parade.
Special thanks to our sponsor, Lockheed Martin. Special thanks to our sponsor, Form Energy. Special thanks to our sponsor, Coinbase.
Oh my God.
Special thanks to our sponsor, Oracle.
Okay, so Coinbase is probably the one that broke me.
Yeah, yeah. Like the other ones are bad, but at least it's like, well, they do make military weapons, so that's one thing.
Yeah, it's also like it's a little too explicit to have an army sponsored by fucking Lockheed Martin. It's like Lockheed Martin's supposed to work for the army,
Right?
Not the Lockheed Martin pays the army, whatever. So, Form Energy, man. A soldier in uniform was at the parade handing out free cans of Form Energy, PHORM, which was the sponsor parade, one of the sponsors of the parade, co-owned by Dana White. And a rep from the company was taking selfies with a soldier who was handing out the products. So, our military is now sponsored by a company that makes heart attack juice, co-owned by the guy who sells brain trauma for gladiator events.
Well, I do look forward to the new military jackets that look like NASCAR drivers. You know what I mean? That's going to be interesting when they have the patches everywhere. Also, I would like to see what our Maha-in-Chief, Robert F. Kennedy Jr., has to say about these drinks that I know will probably peel paint.
Mm-hmm. Oh, no, they're for all them. Where we're getting very healthy is we're pro-Zen, pro-energy drinks, pro-pesticides, but anti-red dye. So what you have to do is you have to eat beige-colored Starbursts while the military chugs the heart attack juice.
It's so stupid the way that, like, Robert F. Kennedy Jr. will, like, be saying some stuff that I'm like, yeah, sure, and then follow it up with, well, now I hate it. You know what I mean? Because, like, I agree that there shouldn't be so many artificial dyes and things, and we should have natural thing. And I'm like, yeah, you're spitting, you know. And then he'll just be like, and polio should come back because it's the easiest way for us to, get the population control down. And I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about?
It's like look, I read a piece by a doctor a couple weeks ago who made this point that I'm going to steal right now. But like, there are societies in the world that have something close to the food supply system that RFK is asking for, where like school kids eat locally sourced lunches without hormones and shit in them. We're talking about France,
right?
And they achieve that with a vast regulatory state that enforces it.
Yes.
Guess what we're not getting?
Right.
So everybody, so I'm not going to assume anybody's the parade about the parade that everybody was making fun of the turnout and how corny and clumsy it was, but like, for just to put the less than stellar turnout in context, especially in comparison to these No Kings marches, which had like somewhere between 5 and 7 million people marching in the streets all over the country on Saturday, which is, if you're counting, somewhere between 10 and 12 times the size of the original Tea Party protests. They got a bunch of coverage about how real Americans were fed up. Anyway, a bunch of people did malicious compliance stuff. You could go on the internet and sign up for free tickets, right? So let me read to you some of the people that signed up for tickets that I'm guessing did not show up. Tess T. Coles, Ray Peast, JK not going, and my personal favorite, the famous, I guess, I'm not sure if this is supposed to be a Persian or Arab activist, Gofak Youssef.
Yeah, this is Moe's. Go ahead.
Right.
I fucking love it.
Classic bit. It's also 100 degrees, humid, and it was supposed to be a 100% chance of rain, which, of course, when it didn't rain, Trump said, well, how can you believe in climate change or the weathermen get rain wrong? Whatever.
Or it was God, Mark. Did you ever consider that God literally wouldn't let it rain on his parade?
Yeah, probably that could also be it. Also, everything about this was poorly executed, including the admission system for the security gate. Like the security gate was like set up like if you were trying to like a corn maze. All right.
Yeah.
And a bunch of people were trying to actually go to the thing, ended up not making it because they kettled themselves on a bridge and got confused. Okay.
I just realized that corn and maize are synonyms.
I got to be honest here, my mind's a little blown. I never thought about it that way.
I haven't either. It just occurred to me.
They also, the sound system was poorly set up, so a bunch of people that were there trying to support it couldn't hear anything, so they left. It was also just like, it's a parade, guys.
Yeah.
Parades are boring as fuck.
They're horrible. Like, even I remember when I was a kid, we would always watch the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade, and, I was a kid, so whatever, it was on in the background, and I thought, oh, well, this is a thing that you do, and then I finally became an adult, and it was the first Thanksgiving I could decide what to watch for myself, and I was like, I guess we got to watch the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade, and I put it on. I lasted fucking 5 minutes, maybe. I was like, this is stupid, and being there would be worse.
I went to the Macy's parade once when I was living in New York, my wife and I, because her friend had an apartment along the parade route, and that was kind of cool to look out the window and be at eye level with fucking Snoopy and Spider-Man.
Yeah, that's cool.
But also, they put Spider-Man and Snoopy and Garfield it floats in the parade to make the parade interesting.
Exactly.
By the time you see the fourth armored personnel character drive by, what the fuck are you looking at?
It's all the same. It's all green, squeaky, and also I saw some clips because regardless of the bit I was doing earlier, I did know all about this. I saw some clips where don't get me wrong, when I see the Chinese videos of their army and they're so in sync, it's insane, and it looks like stormtroopers and shit. That scares the fuck out of me, but at least it looks badass. Like, our dudes were just fucking, it's like they were it looked like an AIDS walk. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Like, where everybody's just kind of like, all right, we're here, whatever, we're done. Not that AIDS walks aren't important. I'm just saying you don't march in sync at an AIDS walk.
They also, the troops got a lot of shit for their poor marching, but or some people are like, well, they're just they're doing it on purpose, sabotaging on purpose. I don't have any of that.
No.
But the people in our army have real jobs for the most part.
Yeah.
They're not practicing marching all the time.
Right.
Because it's not, here's the thing, guys, it's not key to their jobs.
We don't do that anymore. Yeah, like back in the, medieval times, or those, armies used to get in formation and in step because that's how they attacked. But now we do everything with drones. Like, why would they don't even, you don't even have to have feet to be in the army now if you don't want to.
Right. But it's another thing, so Trump is, there's cool Chinese videos you're talking about. Trump has apparently seen them and wanted to recreate them, okay?
Yeah.
A couple of problems. It seems to not have occurred to him that one of the reasons those countries have such great turnout for their military parades is you can make them go at gunpoint. Yeah. Yeah, he said that something about, he's like, I overheard a comment he made about, I really, say what you will about Kim Jong-un, but people really listen when he speaks. And I'm like, what's their alternative? Getting their fucking head chopped off? You know what I mean? Right. One of the reasons they march so good at the parades is because Kim Jong-un, if you march poorly, can, strap a landmine to your wife's chest and throw out of a trebuchet, right? Yeah. So, what the fuck? It's
Which,
just
honestly, that's your best case scenario, because the other one is you just have to live in North Korea. You know what I mean? So it's pretty rough.
Right. They also, Americans have, Netflix.
Right.
So maybe that's what they spent their Saturday doing instead, even if they love Donald Trump, right? So, also, they weren't even throwing out parade at our fucking, at Canada at our fucking parade. You get kids excited about the parade But you got to throw out some Bazooka Joe bubblegum and Tootsie Roll Pops. They may have given
Absolutely.
Donald Trump notes in his next protest.
I love thinking about them throwing those energy drinks and just like killing an 8-year-old, like just hitting him in the temple. That would hit for me. Not that I don't want an 8-year-old to die, of course, but it would have been funny.
Yeah, it'd be funny to watch their government the way the normal course of operations works. They'd be like, first of all, the government would claim the troop acted in self-defense.
Yeah.
Then the kid's family would file like a lawsuit against the government. The government would claim like qualified immunity because the Constitution doesn't say explicitly anywhere that a troop can't kill an 8-year-old with an energy drink, which of course it doesn't. So yeah, that's. And
then it turns out that Tim Waltz actually hired the 8-year-old as his social media manager.
There you go. So talk about the troops half-assing it for a second. They tried to do a bunch of workarounds, like so they weren't in dress uniforms, all right. Partially because not everyone is yet required to have the Army's new dress uniform. It's still being phased in. The deadline to have it is until 2027, so that was out. So they tried to do, okay, we're going to dress up in regular Army fatigues from different eras of U.S. history. So they had people like troops dressed up in like Vietnam era gear and like World War I doughboys and shit. It's like, that's a good workaround. We can't have on dress uniforms, so we're doing costumes. Okay, good. Clever Army.
Were people still spitting on the dudes dressed in the Vietnam fatigues?
No, and I do want to note, although everyone
Trump
thinks
see
that
it and
happened,
go, not again, no.
Because that is a well-wrote, like it's a very funny joke. But I do want to point out that as far as anyone can tell, there's no historical record of that ever actually happening. It was a made-up trope by right-wing psychos.
Sure,
So,
whatever.
yeah,
I don't let that get in the way.
Right? No, you're allowed to hit. I'm just the guy who's here to cockblock the hitting with fact checks.
I get it.
So they also made the troops sleep jammed into old office buildings, only were feeding MREs twice a day. They didn't have laundry capabilities, so they definitely dry cleaning. They couldn't wash their uniforms. So the marching, though, clearly no one really gave a fuck to even practice for a couple days. But here's some important context here as well for why the troops might have been disgruntled. It's the Army's 250th birthday, which shares the same day as Donald Trump's birthday, which is why they had this parade. Okay. Everybody else in the Army got a 3-day weekend to celebrate the Army's birthday. Well, these guys had to go to D.C. and march around in the fucking swampy air in 100-degree weather where there's supposed to be raining. So I bet they weren't having the best time.
No.
My favorite part, though, there was like an infantryman who had his drone with him. You know, the drones they use for like close intel where they throw up when they're in combat. He wasn't flying it though. He was just carrying it over his shoulder like a waiter, but like it looked like a kid like carrying an airplane going like vrrr, like you can see. Oh, let's hear him go vrrr.
I love that. Yeah, I'm glad that happened though. That way everybody can understand visually that most people hate their fucking jobs. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Like, most people hate their fucking jobs. Like, I can't stand it when you see a movie, you know, whether it's an Army guy or a military guy, and their boss is like, all right, that's it. You're suspended 2 weeks with pay. They'll say with pay, and the person's still like, oh, God damn it. And I'm like, what do you mean? Go to fucking Myrtle Beach, cuz. Like, you got it. Like, that's the best.
Yeah, I was thinking about that with the Marines, about people hating their job. Like, the Marines that are deployed to LA right now, like, who detained a guy the other day, like, who was just trying to walk into the VA building, but they yelled him not across the barrier, but has earpods in. And they detained him like 2 minutes and let him go. I'm not saying it's like the worst thing in the world. The guy that got detained is actually, that's no big deal. Whatever, I went on to my VA appointment. But the Marines, the grunt Marines who are deployed to Los Angeles are 19, 20 years old for the most part. A lot of them were given the choice to either go to jail for stealing a car or join the Marines. Yeah. And now they're deployed to Los Angeles to do law enforcement.
Yeah.
They have to drink the Form energy drinks because they hate their fucking job.
Yeah, of course.
Anyway, now we're about to send them all to Iran, I guess. So anyway, that being said, let's talk about the Minnesota assassin, who I have dubbed in my own clever way the untalented Mr. Ripley because he's such a fucking liar. My first question I want to pose to you, Corey, is would a deranged murderer dance like this? Here is the Minnesota assassin, Vance Belter. He's talking at a church in Congo.
About now.
Jusqu'à présent, même maintenant.
And when I get excited,
Et quand je suis excité,
I want to dance.
je veux danser.
What Jesus did for me.
C'est que Jésus a fait pour moi.
Jesus is God.
Jésus est
Almighty
Dieu.
God.
C'est le Dieu
He
puissant.
saved my life.
Il a sauvé ma vie.
Woo!
First off, I would like to answer your question by saying yes. And secondly, I would like to say
Je suis excité de Dieu.
I want to work.
I would like to say that I'm so glad that they translated this so that the godless French can hear the word of God.
I'm glad you picked up he was speaking French because like this is the Democratic Republic of Congo. But
Yeah.
so I saw a bunch of people saying racist shit under this video.
No, it's clearly French.
Right. So this guy, man. First of all, I want to say I've been to this church, except for the guy translating to the Congolese congregation in French. Belter appears to me to have been a wannabe half televangelist and LinkedIn self-promoter entrepreneur type guy who seems to have radicalized himself into believing he's a special forces operator by lying on his resume. Okay.
I mean, I can't argue with that. It looks very much to be that way. Yeah, this guy seems to half hit or think he hits and he don't hit, and that to me, my only experience with LinkedIn. Did you ever have to have a LinkedIn profile for anything?
I had an old day job when I first moved to LA where my job was like it was for an executive headhunter firm where I read a bunch of like C-suite executive a resume, so I had a dummy LinkedIn account to look at their LinkedIn's.
Right.
But no, yeah,
well,
yeah.
Now, granted, this may just be because my only experience with LinkedIn is that I follow the subreddit r LinkedIn lunatics. However, to me, it seemed like most people on LinkedIn are lunatics. It just seems like everybody there. At first it was just, hey, we're here, I need a job, it's a social media thing, but now people use it like Facebook to give their opinions, but it's just opinions on business and stuff, and they'll just say things like, the reason you're not successful is because at 4 o'clock in the morning, you were asleep thinking about playing with your kids, and I was awake punching dumbbells with my elbow, and it's like, all right, anybody on there, I think you should die.
So you've got to the core of my thesis, which is this guy is one of those dudes.
Yeah.
Okay. But also a huge liar. And let me tell you something. Like, so if I was teaching at a journalism school right now, I would we got to change how we do dependent clauses. That'd be like lesson number 1, because because people are so media illiterate, they don't understand what sourcing is anymore. So it'll be like, he was the CEO of a company, comma, according to his LinkedIn. Everyone's takeaway is that he is the CEO of a company.
Right.
When it's not a CEO of a company, he's a CEO of a company, comma, according to his LinkedIn, which you're allowed to put fucking anything on.
Right.
So, I would say the guy said he's a CEO of a company, comma, for which we can find no proof is a better way to put that.
Man claims, whatever.
Right. So so some obvious bullshit here that he said that in his resume and shit, according to his own his various websites for his fake companies and shit. He claimed that he went to the Gaza and the West Bank during the second Intifada. This is per his ministry's website.
Oh, dude, that's the worst Intifada to go.
Right. To the sequel, right? Sequels never live up to the hype. So he said he went
to Vada.
Yeah. He went to preach the gospel to militant Islamists. Let me read here.
Oh, God.
Ordained since 1993, he has enjoyed speaking in different parts of the United States as well as in several international cities such as Jerusalem, Israel. Prior to 9/11, Vance had already made several trips to violent areas in the Gaza Strip and West Bank where suicide bombings were taking place. He sought out militant Islamists in order to share the gospel and tell them that violence wasn't the answer. I can't tell you that he's fucking lying, but I can tell you that one group of people who are definitely not open to be a witness to is a guy being currently fitted for a suicide vest.
Yeah. I also
that guy.
I don't trust anybody that has just started preaching in 1993. I know that that's still 30 years ago or whatever, but I'm old school like that. If when I see a doctor that's younger than me, I'm like, no. With a preacher, it's like, you better have been slinging that shit since at least the 80s, or I just think that you got in there because of AIDS.
Right. So
93, you got apartheid, you got AIDS, you got all. I don't like his indoctrination.
I'm trying to do the math. He's 57, so in 93 he would have been well into adulthood, right? Yeah. So the way everyone was talking about this guy, and everybody's trying to draw doing their dumb culture war bullshit, trying to blame the other side for him. And yes, right-wing stochastic terror is a huge problem in this country. And but I can't tell you, this guy appears to have been an anti-abortion lunatic, except
Yeah.
he never really talked about it that much, which is usually not those people's speeds. He also, like, his roommate said that, yeah, he was conservative, he liked Donald Trump, but he didn't really talk about it a whole lot. He, like, vaguely didn't like Tim Walz and Joe Biden, but, like, it wasn't like, you know, like, he sounded like the normal guy you talk to at a barbecue who, like,
Right.
drives a truck. Not in a way that he's definitely going to get a gun and go try to murder 70 people, which was what his plan was.
What kind of gun did he have?
I think he just had a sidearm, but I don't know that
That's
for
a
sure.
dumb plan for 70 people.
Well, he was
You know
going to
what
do
I
it one at a. What he was going to do it one at a time was a spree killing, not a mass shooting.
Oh, okay.
So, but he apparently, like, he threw everybody off his scent by just saying self-aggrandizing shit on bullshit on the internet. And, like, this is the kind of lies that are obvious to everybody who grew up on the internet. Like, his dating like, if he had a dating profile, I'd probably say that he like he plays guitar and is a black belt in Krav Maga and 6'5".
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So I do want to say, like, so he shot a state senator by the name of John Hoffman and his wife, and killed a state representative named Melissa Hortman and her husband. Killed their dog.
The dog?
Yeah, I
Well,
told
now
I
I'm
was,
invested.
I was telling my wife this, and she got most upset by the dog too.
I'm sorry
yeah.
that Trey missed this episode.
It's a bit that Trey hates dogs. He really just loves cats, but it's a fun. Yeah, so we got to explain this bit because people gets mad. Trey gets mad because people think he hates dogs, and he gets like hate mail about it.
Yes,
So,
that's why I did it. I'm aware of
yeah.
that fact.
Send Trey hate mail as a dog hater, everybody.
Please.
So I want to say this. We're not going to talk about the victims a lot because it's depressing.
Yeah.
But Melissa Hortman was the Democratic leader in the Minnesota House, and she was Speaker of the House from 2019 to 2025. She's probably the most influential state-level Democrat, barring the governor. And this was an era when Minnesota, which is one of the few Democratic parties that actually try to improve the lots of their citizens, they passed paid family leave and free lunch at schools with a bare majority. And Hoffman, the state senator, he got into state politics after he struggled to obtain insurance for his daughter who had spina bifida, and figures others had the same problem. His nephew said he fucking hated politics. He just thought people should have health care.
There you go. Hey, that's the party I belong to.
Right. So what I'm saying is this guy apparently somehow managed to shoot a very rare commodity, which is two committed, decent public servants.
Okay, so let me get this straight. This guy was a televangelist, which is very, very right wing.
Coded, yeah.
Right wing coded, sure. He's a televangelist. Then he tells everybody he doesn't like Joe Biden and Tim Walz, which is right wing coded. Then he gets a gun, which is pretty right wing coded, and then he uses that gun to shoot left wing politicians. So therefore, he's clearly a liberal. Right? Like that's the fucking leap in logic everyone's making, that he was some Manchurian candidate that you just like, he was just hanging out and somebody's just like, avocado toast, Lord, chaperone, and he just fucking stood up and was like,
Yeah, pretty much
Okay.
is what that's the world according to Elon and Cat Turd. There,
All right.
Elon with his megaphone of like hundreds of millions of people on Twitter is telling them this guy was like a left wing lunatic.
Can I say something without getting in trouble?
Probably not, but go ahead.
I hope Cat Turd gets a rare form of cancer and dies slowly in front of everyone.
Yeah, okay, yeah, that's fair.
Right on. Okay.
We'll allow it.
We can move on.
So another thing to know about Vance Belter is like in the car. So the sequence of events here is he goes to Hoffman's house at like 2 a.m., shoots him and his wife. His wife shielded their daughter with her body, so I guess maybe she saved her daughter's life. Then at 3:30 in the morning, he apparently went to two other politicians' houses, but they didn't answer the door or weren't home or whatever. Then he ends up at Hortman's house, kills her and her husband. The cops, smartly, rare attribute for a lot of them, he's like, wait, somebody killed a politician. Maybe we do a check on other politicians in the area. So they send units to Hortman's house, and they catch him, Belter, coming out of her house, and they get in a little shootout with the cops where he runs away, and the cops have his SUV, which looked like a police SUV because he has his own private security company we'll get to. And he had a hit list in the car with a list of 70 targets. That's the 70 I was talking about. And it included Ilhan Omar, Senator Tina Smith, and Governor Walz, plus a bunch of abortion advocates and providers were on the list. So, yeah, their theory of the crime is that Tim Walz activated a Winter Soldier to murder himself.
I'm not trying to victim blame, but I am just saying this will maybe save some lives. Don't answer the fucking door ever. Like, don't do it. Like, I get made fun of this by my family all the time, but, like, don't how did the other politicians survive? You said they didn't answer the fucking door, all right? When my mom was at my house not long ago, we were hanging out with my son. Somebody knocks at my door, and I just sat there stone-faced, and my mom's like, did you hear that? And I was like, yeah. They knock again. She's like, are you not going to get that? I was like, no. She's like, why are you not going to get that? I go, because I'm not expecting anybody, and anybody I like would have called me. That's why. If they got something for me, they can leave it there, or they can call me, leave their fucking pamphlet. I'm not going to my fucking door. She's like, are you scared or something? I was like, no, I just don't want to talk to anybody. And I didn't, and guess what? Didn't get murdered. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's just a different world. Like when I was a kid, my dad's friends would just come by the house to see
Of
if he was
course.
home to have a beer.
Because we didn't have cell phones back then, but now we do. It's all I'm saying.
Yeah, I just wish, but I do kind of wish I do answer my door. Oh yeah, we have like package deliveries and handyman coming by.
You
all the
also
time,
want to die more than me.
That's fair enough. So this guy with no criminal history, as far as I've seen, just wakes up one day, makes a list of 70 people, just decides I want to be the most successful spree killer of all time.
Yeah.
I'm going to kill 70 people across 4 states, mind you. How many times do you think you have to gas up his car?
A good amount. I mean,
Right.
I know he's a liberal, Mark. He's got an electric.
Oh,
You
good
know.
point, yeah. So, these guys, he was wearing, they said he was dressed as a police officer. It's not totally true. I saw pictures, it's like a security guard uniform. But, like, I don't know why don't answer your door, even if a guy vaguely looks like a cop at 2 a.m. to a guy wearing a mask.
Christ
Look at that.
almighty. Is that Walter White's mask?
It looks like, remember the beginning of Dark Knight, the ones
Yeah.
they wear when they do the bank heists?
They got the mohawk coming through it. Yeah, dude.
Yeah.
Like, again, I'm not victim blaming, but, like, if I saw my mom at my door at 2 a.m, I'd be like, this bitch can get me tomorrow at lunch. You know what I mean? Like, if it's important, scream.
Right. So the thing going about that launched all the conspiracy theories on the right wing internet is that Belcher was appointed to a governmental board by Tim Walz, which is true. Like most conspiracy theories is based upon an element of truth. Like the conspiracy theory that no Jewish people show up to work for 9/11. I bet somebody Jewish called in sick. Okay, but
Of course.
so Tim Walz was appointed to a board. Belcher was appointed to a board by Tim Walz. It's true enough, but you got to say more stuff. Otherwise, it's a fucking lie. But it doesn't make sense. Because the right wing internet did get CNN to buy into the conspiratorial framing. If you have this video, Matt, and I'm gonna tell you why this pisses me off. Because people going on TV to talk about the news should know about the fuck they're talking about more than I do. Who's just a guy with an internet connection.
Oh, you're so much more than that to me.
It's a very confusing motive because this guy was appointed to a political position by Tim Walz. So now he's attacking Democrats. So you have to try to figure out where he is with a lot of confusing different messages.
Nope. Okay. So this board we're talking about, it's a who the fuck cares piddlefoot government's workforce development advisory board. It has no power. He was appointed by the previous governor. This board has about 60 members. Walz given a perfunctory reappointment in 2019. No proof he ever met him. He probably somebody just rubber stamped it. Senator Hoffman, who he shot, was also on the board. No proof they ever met, even though they're on the same board. And another board member named Steve Kalina, who self-described, says he's on the opposite end of the political spectrum from Tim Walz, says it's a bipartisan body and people should not draw any conclusions from the fact he sat on this fucking board that never met and nobody went to.
I was about to say, I think we should applaud Tim Walz for reaching across party lines and appointing a clear conservative.
It's just like you would appoint anybody. I from going through his history, I know exactly what he did to get on this board. He fucking lied on his resume.
Right.
Okay. He's the kind of guy that goes to events and shakes hands to network and is really annoying. He has a business card with a made-up shit on it. He hands it to you and it says, here I work for Art Vandelay Imports and Exports. And you go, what do you import and export? And he goes luxury items. And you're like, what the fuck? And then he gets your phone number. You regret giving it to him. He calls you every day for a week. He asks you for a favor, so you get annoyed and ask somebody else for a favor. Then pretty soon he's sitting on the board because no one gives a shit about it.
Dude, I'm not even someone that has any power, but do you know how many people in my career that have worked for me or done work for me literally just because I was like, this will get him to shut the fuck up. You know what I mean? I was like, it's not really that big of a deal, and it's a decent price. Look, you can do it, and then like so many. I texted you the other day about a similar situation. It was like, I'm still paying somebody that I was like, just whatever, I don't care.
So a recurring thing that happens whenever any sort of violence to cast a terror attack happens is it turns out the person is a big fan of InfoWars, and then InfoWars accuses them of being part of a vast conspiracy.
Every time.
Okay? Every time. It happened with the Boston Marathon bombers, or the classic example, right? Where people think of them as Islamist terrorists, which is like sort of true, but also the main thing they were mad about is that the government had framed Muslims for 9/11, which they were convinced of by Alex Jones, and they do the Boston Marathon bombing to get revenge on the government for framing Muslims for 9/11. Then InfoWars says the government framed these two guys are government. It's the whole thing.
Were they using that? Were they using that like old Bin Laden quote of him talking about how he didn't do it and it was the Jews because they wanted America to get in with their war in the Middle East or whatever?
That's going on the internet today because of Iran. We're going to talk about that. I think me and Trey are going to talk about that on the Patreon episode. But yeah, so let me read you this.
Yeah, make people pay for that information.
No, I'm just saying that is the interesting thing that's happening, but like we just don't have time to get into it.
Yeah, I hear you.
So let me read. So again, Belter's a big InfoWars fan, where he got his news from apparently. Let me read you this InfoWars headline about the Minnesota shooting. Special report in the Alex Jones impression. Special report: Minnesota shooting reveals Democrat domestic terror. Okay, so this guy gives his life. Well, he's alive, but he's given away. He's going to spend the rest of his life in prison for Alex Jones's movement. Alex Jones is like, this guy's a fucking lefty lunatic, right? These guys.
It's beautiful.
The stupidest conspiracy theory or mistaken takeaway that people on the internet have is because he gave sermons in the DRC. People are pretending that DRC is the Democratic National Committee.
I was about to say, what the fuck is the DRC? Because it's not the DNC.
The Democratic Republic of the Congo.
Oh, okay. Okay, the thing we were just watching.
Yes.
Oh God, we're so fucked, man. We are just beyond fucked. Like, why are you doing this show? What do you hope to gain from this show anymore, Mark? People are listening, but it doesn't matter because the other side is just saying stuff and they're in power and it works and they got military people and they're just deporting anybody they want. Like, it doesn't. Let's just fucking kill ourselves. You know what I mean? Like, let's just fucking. That's what I want to do is, like, I want the United States to get nukes so that I can go fucking tap on them with a ball-peen hammer and just explode all of us and save us from ourselves.
For those of you who were listening to the audio feed, Matt just looked at the graphic for good Skews. What I was going to say was I thought we booked Corey, but apparently we booked Drew.
Oh, sorry.
So
I've been in Florida with my in-laws all week, so if you're wanting somebody bright-eyed and bushy-tailed to not want to commit mass suicide, you got the wrong guy.
My basic takeaway is, like, as a person, as an observer of all this stuff, I find it deeply interesting because, like, Belter's the kind of guy that only 2025 America could manufacture.
Yeah.
And we make a lot of them. They're not a majority. And, like, what you said, most people are reality-based. They go through all day, every day, and maybe do one crazy thing. Like, I watched a video that was going viral earlier today. Are you familiar with the people painting their roofs blue?
Yes, I saw that, and I started to read about why it's stupid, but then I was just like, I'll take it at face value. It's stupid.
Because it's wildfire season is approaching, and which, of course, the government uses as cover to burn down political enemies' houses with targeted, directed energy weapons.
Right.
People, because of photos, I think, from the Honolulu fire a couple years ago, a couple of houses that were left standing had roofs that were blue.
That were metal, I'm sure.
I don't know. But they convinced themselves that the way to protect yourself and your family from the directed energy weapons the government is going to use to burn everybody's house down is to paint your roof blue. And this woman, who's filming her and her husband paint the roof blue, sounds perfectly sane.
Right.
And is describing how they ran to the paint. They got to run to the paint store. It means she owns a house. She must pay property taxes. It means she holds down a job, and she has money in a credit card to go run to, like, Home Depot and get more blue paint.
Okay.
So all day long, this woman is perfectly sane until she paints her house blue.
I need everyone to apologize to everyone in Appalachia and rednecks, because I'm not sure if you're familiar, but it's been an old thing that rednecks and Appalachian people paint their porch roof blue because it's supposed to get rid of haints and ghosts. But it was just an old stupid superstition. These people are for real doing it.
Yeah. Yeah, and they think they have scientific proof or whatever. But also, like, what was the point of you guys electing Donald Trump president if the government's still burning in your house with directed energy weapons?
Right.
We could have kept the immigrants in the economy.
Right. Like if he got elected and was like, oh, if we vote for him, he's gonna get rid of the deep state. Like if the deep state's still doing stuff, it's like, all right, well, so what?
They're still passing anti-chemtrail laws.
Right.
And like, but I thought Donald Trump would stop the chemtrails. Why do you got? Yeah. So. Belter also had some flyers for the No Kings protest in his SUV when the cops searched it. It's not really clear why to me, but what I really doubt he was doing was canvassing for the hashtag resistance in the middle of his killing spree.
Right.
Now, on the left end of the spectrum, a bunch of people immediately assumed that the No Kings flyers in his car were an attempt to frame Democrats for the shootings, and
sure,
maybe they were. But my first thought was they had like a list of speakers, and he was going to go to the rally and shoot a bunch of people.
Right.
That seems like the most obvious conclusion. It's the one the government drew because Tim Walz put out a statement like, "You guys do what you want, but like, I wouldn't go to attend any political rallies today." Tim Walz canceled his appearance because he was on the list. A bunch of civilians were brave and still went. Keith Ellison was on the list, and he still went and spoke. The Attorney General of Minnesota, so good for him. Some people have to be brave right now. And, like, we were talking about the picture of him with the latex mask on. The first round of media coverage said he was dressed like a cop and it fooled people. I don't know if he ever fooled anybody. I'm not sure why people would open their door other than you're groggy at 2 in the morning. Maybe he had a couple glasses of wine before he went to bed. And so when the cops got there, they basically witnessed him execute Hortman's husband and then got a shootout with him as he came out the door. And I give cops a lot of shit. But I got to be honest, if the guy with that mask on was coming at me at 3:30 in the morning, I think that's a weapons-free type situation.
Absolutely, dude. Oh, dude. Listen, man. I'm only mad at the cops for shooting people not a shot. There's plenty of people they ordered a shot, and then they didn't. That's what makes me mad. Like, far be it from me. Yeah, dude, if you see any Freddy Krueger situation running at you in the night, fucking blap, blap, blap. I mean, that's fucking off jump. You know what I mean?
Generally, I think it should be a last resort to shoot people. Except for January 6th, you should have opened fire with your minigun. Okay.
Yeah.
So when I say Belter lied on his resume, let me read to you here from his LinkedIn. Okay. April 2016 through November 2021, general manager of a 7-Eleven in Minneapolis. A month later, December 21st through present, CEO of Red Lion Group, Democratic Republic of the Congo.
I got to get on LinkedIn, man.
Right.
I got to fucking just start saying stuff. I mean, it's like I do just say stuff, but never once have I thought, but make it stuff that will help you. You know what I mean? It's always just been stuff that I say that's funny.
Yeah, I mean, the reason I can never get it, you ask me why I do this, it's for the little bit of money we make doing it, because I can never get a corporate job because I've said so much shit on fucking YouTube.
Dude.
And various stand-up clips and podcast clips and stuff.
Me too. I'm so uninsurable and unhireable. It's ridiculous. I just should start lying.
Yeah, I got a buddy who chose a stage name. It was just his middle name, a shortened version of his stage name, in case comedy didn't work out. And I was like, that's the smartest thing anybody ever fucking did, because if you just search his corporate name, it doesn't show up as him. So yeah,
that's genius.
So if you want to believe his LinkedIn, I guess surely anyone in a month can go from managing a convenience store in Minneapolis to Congolese warlord or whatever he's trying to sell himself.
American Dream.
So what is the Red Lion Group? You might be wondering. Well,
I was going to just ignore it, but go ahead.
Let me quote here from the Milwaukee Journal-Sentinel. It's not clear what the company did. The website linked to his LinkedIn profile for Red Lion Group is currently down. I was trying to read some tea leaves to figure out if this company actually existed. And here's the closest I could actually get. Okay, there's a clue about Red Lion in the bio for his quote his fake ass security firm, which we'll get to, which was wearing a uniform for when he did the shooting. Quote: he has worked for the largest U.S. oil refining company. End quote. Sort of true. Belter represented Marathon Petroleum Corporation at one of the Governor's Workforce Development Commission events in 2018. Marathon owned a bunch of 7-Elevens.
Well, there you go.
By the way, there's a fire at a Marathon refinery in Texas on Sunday, so the lunatics are assuming these two events are connected.
Yeah.
The event where he represented Marathon Petroleum, which owned the 7-Eleven, he was a general manager of at the board that Tim Walz, reluctantly appointed him to without ever knowing who the fuck he was. That event featured the ambassador to the United States for the Democratic Republic of the Congo.
Oh.
Now, I read some reporting that said what he was trying to do is to pitch Marathon on himself being a middleman for a development scheme in the Congo.
Sure.
So my best guess is the origin story for Red Lion is that was his fake pass-through LLC for his get-rich-quick scheme that never worked out.
Yeah. Man, this guy, what an enterprising young gentleman.
So it was driving me crazy all day yesterday when a lot of people were taking his resume, like they were basically taking his resume as fact. It took like 24 hours for people to start figuring it out. And this headline this story sort of got to the bottom of it. Food worker with fantasy of security career sought in Minnesota political shootings. And I haven't mentioned this, but yeah, they caught him this morning hiding in some bushes near his family's house, where he didn't live with his wife and kids. In social media posts and websites, Belter said he had extensive experience as a security professional with, quote, training by both private security firms and by people in the U.S. military. But he appears to have worked most of his career in the food service industry, and one longtime friend described parts of Belter's narrative about his life as fantasy. He had another company called Praetorian Guard Security Services, where on the website, Belter described himself as, quote, part of the leadership team and the entire workforce, an employee workforce, was him, his wife, and his brother, who's a retired cop. NPR found no record of the firm having clients or providing any services. A call to the company's phone number connected to what appears to be a private phone line, not a business, and the address listed to incorporation papers appear to be that of a law firm specializing in divorce litigation.
Well, I mean, that's NPR, a liberal rag, Mark. I don't...
Yeah, but I guess I didn't go confirm it. But if you don't trust NPR, you can go yourself and look at his website and look at the address up, Google the address, and it'll show I bet it will show a divorce lawyer's firm. And I'm wondering why a divorce lawyer is like he's not currently living with his wife and kids. He lived with 2 roommates. So,
well, that's what I saw today was a bunch of people being like, "Why is this guy who is the CEO of all these companies? Why would he have a roommate? Huh? Have you ever thought about that?" And it's like, I don't think he was.
The news footage did show him having a big, nice house, which of course made everyone suspicious, considering a part of the narrative is that he was like short on cash. But like rich people can be cash poor.
Dude, most of them are. Like most of the rich people are. It's like they take loans against their assets and never pay them back. Like that's what you learn the first day of being the worst person on earth. When you get millions of dollars, they go, "Do you want to have billions? Here's how you do it. Don't actually have anything."
Now, yeah. What you do is you live off loans of your assets and write the loans off as as losses in your taxes.
Yeah, that way you don't ever have an income and therefore you don't pay taxes on it. And then your kids will have to pay that off, but let's just quit.
But also, like people like maybe his wife's family has money. Like, why are you like because he has like a 5-bedroom McMansion? You're assuming that his life was going great.
Well,
they got a fake security company with no clients.
There will be people that on a smaller level, there will be like a homeless person. They'll show this video of like a homeless person. They're like, "How is this person homeless if they have an iPhone?" It's like, well, maybe they got an iPhone and then shit went bad and they just didn't throw the phone away. You know what I mean? Like shit can just go bad easily.
Also, that's the main possession you need in the world.
Right.
The first thing you're saving up for is a smartphone so you can send emails, try to get a job to get your ass off the fucking streets. It's not like anyway, people.
Right. And again, once you lose everything, you're not going to throw an $1,000 thing away.
Mm-hmm. I do want to know the name of his company, Praetorian Guard. Like, the Praetorians are murdering politicians? What fucking year is this? We're in
Rome.
400 BC, yeah.
I was going to say, we're in Rome. Et tu, Tim?
I want to read some more from his bio here because they help you fill out on what kind of fucking liar this guy is. Under his profile on the company website, it says, quote, Vance has been involved with security situations in Eastern Europe, Africa, North America, and the Middle East, including the West Bank, Southern Lebanon, and the Gaza Strip. He brings a great aspect forged by both many on-the-ground experiences combined with training by both private security firms and by people in the U.S. military. You work for fucking 7-Eleven.
Yeah.
The language in that bio from a security firm makes it sound like what he was selling was Blackwater, but his company was more like bootleg ADT. Like, the service he was selling was basically sign up for a service and me and my brother will drive by your house a few times a week. I looked at the webpage. The silver level of his service, which featured social unrest coverage, that cost $1,900 a month, which meant he'll drive by your house 4 times a week. And the social unrest coverage, you got to remember the George Floyd protest started in Minneapolis.
Yeah.
What he's saying is that if the George Floyd protest happened again, as part of as a silver package member, you get priority. So if protesters show up to everybody's houses, we go shoot the protesters in your yard first. For $1,900 a month. Bronze coverage, if that's more in your price range, is only $1,300 a month to drive by your house 3 times a week. All right.
Okay, but have you ever considered, so he worked at 7-Eleven, right? He works at 7-Eleven, and he is a dude who is a televangelist, which is very Republican, but he also worked for Tim Waltz, which is very Democratic, right? And so that's political parties. There's 2 political parties. You take 7-Eleven, you take the 7, you put it here, you put the 11, you put it here. You add the 2 political parties to 7, you get 9, boom, 9/11.
The job for you,
hire me.
Open for Cat Turtle on the road if you want it.
Hire me.
So the thing is, like, he's selling social unrest coverage while murdering politicians in their homes. Like, bro, you are the social unrest. But that made me think, like, yeah, sure, he's pro-life and conservative, but also was he trying to just drum up business for a fucking security company?
It's a bold move. It's a bold move.
It's like an arsonist who works for the fire department, kind of.
Yeah.
But he did send a message to his roommate / best friend saying, "Hey, I love you guys. Goodbye." So he probably planned to die, except he surrendered like a pussy.
He told his roommate, "I love you." He's definitely a liberal.
That his roommate, fascinating guy, was like talked to the media for hours. It looked like he was sitting on the stoops of their house. And was crying about how he hopes his friend gets taken alive and how he never said anything to let him believe he could do this kind of thing, which I don't believe him. But, like, I do want to say, like, he was finding home addresses for 70 politicians.
Right.
My understanding of how monitored the internet is by the National Security State, if his name was Abdul El-Aziz and he was looking for home addresses of conservatives, do you think they wouldn't have fucking been tracking him?
Of course.
So Belter, by the way, as far as anyone can tell, has no history. He's stealing valor. He's just stealing valor. He has no history of working in law enforcement, the military, or private security. One of his longtime friends, a guy by the name of David Carlson, that's the neighbor the roommate I was talking about, downplayed the idea that he had any real world or security experience. They've been friends since 4th grade. He says he was always kind of into the military stuff, but it was just, we were always like that. Me and him, we would play Army men.
Well, yeah, I was about to say, dude, when I was in fucking 4th grade, we would go down to the recreation center where they had the recycling bins and stuff, and we would get all the bottles and we would put them up on this stick thing, and we would throw bottles at them, and those would be like the tankers, and then we would light anthills on fire, and we'd be like, those are the Vietnamese, you know what I mean, or whatever the fuck you do. Like, you know, we all play Army men when we're a kid, and then we grow up, some of us.
Right, so some of us get $4,000 ARs with all the bells and whistles and laser sights and shit.
Yeah.
So, like, I watched a grind set video resume that Belter made. He said he's currently working part time at 2 funeral homes. His buddy said that, like, his security firm never did anything, like we already talked about. So, like, when he did the shootings, the first time that he drove the SUV and took the uniform out of the bag, His buddy said he was struggling with resume, like I said earlier before, and he just posted on LinkedIn, said he was looking for a food service job like a month ago. So I'm not sure when he decided to make this plan. His LinkedIn said he had a doctorate in education. But a thing I need to note here is the college he said he went to was Cardinal Stitch University in Wisconsin for his master's and his doctorate. They closed in 2003 due to financial problems. So I can't tell you that he's faking his diplomas, but I can tell you if you try to call to verify his diploma, you'll get the numbers
can.
about. Yeah, the number you've dialed has been disconnected.
Yeah, that's what I saw. I saw this was a thing going around for a while. Is that this dude was like, "Here's a hack for you. If you, on your resume, just put that you were the manager of a Radio Shack because they can't call Radio Shack and tell you that you weren't." And I'm like, "That's brilliant."
Yeah, I was the head of accounts receivable for Enron. I was the president of Radio Shack. Yeah. So he did his undergrad at Christ for the Nations College in Dallas.
I hate every word you've just said.
You want to? It gets wilder. We'll get to it in a second. But so if you wonder the vibe of this place he chose to do his undergrad work, it was founded by a Cold War era white nationalist and Christian nationalist conspiracy obsessed preacher named Gordon Lindsay.
Jesus.
He was an America First guy who believed that God created the United States and gave it to white Christians, and that communism was a conspiracy funded by Jewish Marxist intellectuals who want to destroy America.
Show me the lie.
Gordon Lindsay was into numerology-based prophecies. Like one was that he prophesied that in the first week of 1944, the Holy Roman Empire will be reconstituted by adding Germany to it, which definitely happened. So everyone should really go to this guy's college.
I love that that's the only math those people do. Like they get into the number, like prophecies or whatever, but other than that, it's gay.
Right. I forgot to mention earlier, but all the people saying this guy's left wing, and that same sermon that we showed the video of earlier, we did the weird dance. Belcher said a bunch of anti-gay shit that I just didn't feel like showing because it's gross. But so Gordon Lindsay was also a big believer in British Israelism. Are you familiar with British Israelism, Corey?
No. But I'm so glad my papa's too dead to hear this.
All right, so. Wait, you got to go back. Here's how hardcore these guys are. You got to go back to like 700 BC when the Assyrians conquered the kingdom of Israel. Right?
I remember that. Yeah.
All right, and 10 of the 12 tribes of Israel fled. All right,
Yeah.
That's where you get the lost tribes of Israel stuff. The British Israelists believe that one of the lost tribes of Israel settled in the UK, and so basically now their descendants, including the Spice Girls and Lord Pickles, are God's chosen people.
And that's why it rains so much.
Right. And so if you've been in New York or D.C. and the black Hebrew Israelites screaming on the street corners about how black Americans are the real Jews.
Oh, I've seen that. Yeah, I don't care for it. One of my favorite things about DC though is that when you walk down there, there's so many protests going on that you're like, I can't be bothered. You know what I mean? There might as well be none. There's too many. You know.
Yeah. So to be familiar with those guys, this is basically the British version of the Black Hebrew Israelites, which made me had fun workshopping a new character I'm thinking about called Hotep King Charles. Yeah. So the guy who recently ran the Christ Traditions Institute, his name is Dutch Sheets. Great name.
Dutch Sheets?
Yeah, those
that
are the
sounds
sheets
like
you
somebody
use
would sponsor a podcast.
Yeah, or the kind of sheets you use when you give your wife a Dutch oven.
Yeah, exactly. We got those Dutch sheets. They come pre-farted on.
Dutch Sheets basically took the school on a class field trip to January 6th. Just talk about his wife for a second, because his wife was she got pulled over, and cops along in the car with her kids. She had a gun, ammo, cash, and passports.
What's up?
So I imagine she got a text message, "Honey, come get me. It's time to flee."
Yeah.
And because we live in tactical nation, the United States are tactical. Everyone has a fucking go bag, I guess.
I was about to say, dude, you got that and some goddamn trail mix, man. You're good, you know.
But maybe think of the Black Keys
Jason
lyric.
Born Again, am I right?
Yeah, there you go. Maybe think of the Black Keys lyric, "Baby, if I killed a man in the first degree, baby, would you flee with me?" Corey, would Amber flee with you if you were on the run for multiple murders?
Dude, Amber won't even go get me a water, you know. She won't even get her ass up. Like, if I can't even imagine being like, "Bitch, get me a grilled cheese," and that going well. Like, I let alone just like, let's get in our Volkswagen Atlas and traverse the continent because Daddy's on the run for killing his political enemies.
My wife won't even listen to me when I tell her not to drive a car while it's overheating.
That's actually what would happen is that she wouldn't even hear me say it. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like I'd have to say it 3 or 4 times, and by the end I'd go, fuck it, I'm going by myself. You know?
Yeah. All right. Well, Corey, thank you for coming on, buddy.
You're welcome.
WeLoveCorey.com.
Yeah.
Remember, check out Trey's upcoming tour dates at TreyCrowder.com, plus his special Trash Daddy. And for $5 a month, you can sign up for Weekly Skews on weeklyskews.com/more. Also, listen to Matt's podcast, Good Skews, about good people doing good things. Thank you guys for listening, and we'll see you on the bonus episode if you're a Patreon subscriber on Friday. If not, we'll see you next Tuesday.
Before you go, I'm going to be in Sunnyvale, California this week, Thursday through Sunday. Come see me. And also Fort Worth, Texas next week, and then Lexington, Kentucky, and then Charlottesville, Virginia. Okay, bye. See you later.
Skew.
Skew.